They called him a rebel, a soldier, a radical, a threat to the international order. When Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power in Burkina Faso in September 2022, the headlines came fast and loud. Western news outlets labeled him a coup plotter. Critics warned of instability. Pundits whispered about another African strongman on the rise. But they weren't listening. They weren't watching, because beneath the surface of that uniform, behind the glowing eyes of the man with the red beret, something entirely different was unfolding. A silent revolution, a blueprint for African independence in the 21st century. This is not the story the media tells. It's not the story they want you to hear, but today, you will. Listen closely, because what Captain Ibrahim Traoré is really doing in Burkina Faso may be the most important African story of our time, and it's just getting started. At only 34 years old when he assumed leadership, Captain Traoré became the world's youngest head of state. But don't let his age fool you. In 2 short years, he has begun reshaping Burkina Faso from the ground up, reclaiming national resources, investing in local industries, and building a new national identity rooted in pride, sovereignty, and Sankara's legacy. He's not a puppet. He's not here to beg for aid. He's here to build. For his people. With his people. Let's start with gold. Burkina Faso is one of the largest gold producers in Africa. But for decades, the wealth beneath the soil never reached the people. It flowed outward to foreign-owned companies, private shareholders, and international banks. Captain Traoré changed that. In 2023 and 2024, his government nationalized major gold assets, 5 large-scale mines, placing them under a newly strengthened state-owned company, SOPAMIB. In addition to that, Burkina Faso broke ground on its first national gold refinery. Once completed, this refinery will allow the country to process its own gold on its own soil, refining up to 400 kilograms per day. No more raw gold shipped away for pennies. No more waiting for foreign investment. Traoré is saying, we own our wealth, and we'll build our future with it. But gold is just the beginning. Food sovereignty is now one of the nation's top priorities. Under Traoré's leadership, Burkina Faso launched one of the most ambitious agricultural reforms in West Africa, the Rikowa's Rice Initiative. With training for tens of thousands of farmers, climate-smart irrigation systems, and 200,000 hectares under sustainable cultivation, Burkina Faso is no longer just surviving, it's feeding itself. In 2024 alone, millet production surpassed 1 million tons. Rice output jumped to 326,000 tons. Tomatoes, over 360,000 tons harvested, not through international aid, through tractors, training, and trust in the people.
It doesn't stop there. Traoré's government inaugurated a 220-ton per day flour mill to reduce dependency on wheat imports. A 2,000-ton per day cement factory has been completed. Small-scale agro-processing centers for cotton, tomatoes, and dairy products are springing up in rural areas. This is a plan. This is infrastructure. This is sovereignty being built, one brick at a time. Now listen to this. Captain Traoré has done all this while refusing to impose the financial burden on ordinary people. When he announced the construction of 1,000 social housing units for displaced communities in July 2024, rumors spread that citizens' salaries would be cut to fund the project. His response was immediate and firm. The people will not carry the cost, the state will. The funding came from redirected budgets, cutting waste, not workers. Healthcare is another pillar. The Presidential Health Initiative, launched in 2024, has already transformed the system. 55 upgraded medical centers, 5 new ICU units, a National Heart Institute, and mobile clinics now serve both urban and rural populations. They didn't stop there. New molecular diagnostic labs now detect diseases from breast cancer to malaria, and solar-powered fridges ensure vaccines are safe even in remote villages. Let's pause here. What other so-called rebel do you know who prioritizes medical infrastructure, clean water systems, and maternal care in rural provinces, while his country is fighting terrorist insurgencies in the north. Because yes, the security threat is real. And that's where the narrative gets manipulated most. They say Captain Traoré took power in chaos. They fail to say he inherited a nation where over 40% of territory was controlled by armed groups. Today, that number has dropped dramatically. His administration formed the Rapid Intervention Brigade, expanded military academies, and mobilized thousands of citizen defense volunteers. Burkina Faso is slowly regaining control, not just of its land, but of its future. But maybe the most powerful change is harder to measure. It's the cultural shift. Traoré understands that leadership isn't just about roads and policies, it's about identity. That's why he restored the legacy of Thomas Sankara, inaugurating a national mausoleum and integrating Pan-African education into public schools. It's why he revived cultural festivals like FESPACO and amplified African storytelling, arts, and music. He knows that colonialism wasn't just economic, it was psychological. And to break free, the African mind must believe again in itself. This is why so many young Africans are watching him, not just in Burkina Faso, but across the continent. From Mali to Ghana, from Congo to Nigeria, they are seeing something they rarely do. A leader who speaks like them, fights for them, and looks like them.
They called him a rebel, and maybe he is, but not the kind they fear. He is rebelling against dependency, against foreign control, against the old script Africa was given. And the irony? The very things for which they condemned him, his youth, his military background, his boldness, are now the very tools he's using to